Yo, 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 you tuning in to the Notion Podcast. I'm your host, Dizzy D Spill, with my co-host in the building.
Jelani Evans.
Man, what's going on, bro? How you living?
Shit, I'm living. You know what I'm saying? I'm living like it's this heat is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Frustrating,
Yeah.
work, new projects, and trying to figure out new techniques and a lot of other things. It's just kind of mentally draining, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, man, I'm living, I'm maintaining best I can, you know what I'm saying? I won't complain, but everything is not a cakewalk.
You know, they say that's a part of stoicism, not complaining. And it's, until I read a book, I never looked at it that way. Because it's real easy to do. And a lot of times it's easy to do because things that we complain about are a lot of times there's some valid reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but in the midst of complaining, I mean, what does that solve? And in the midst of complaining, you put more focus on the issue instead of a solution, and you amplify by focusing on it. So why focus on something that's an issue when you could be focusing on the resolution, right? And then if it's out of your control, why put any focus on it? Because then that's just going to stress you out.
Oh, man, just exposed 85% of YouTubers.
Sorry about that. I'm just saying. How you doing, dog?
Yeah, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm great.
Not gonna complain now.
Yeah, I ain't complaining about nothing. I'm happy, even when I'm not.
You're not gonna expose me.
Yeah, I'm good.
Nah, yeah, but it's, maintain it, man. Best way to go about it. Just
For sure.
handle it. If you can't handle it, you know what I'm saying? Don't
Handle
worry about it. Yeah, if you can, do it. If you can't, don't stress on it, because if you can't, it's out of your control. So don't drive yourself crazy.
Yep. Focus on things you can't control, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
and most of the time that is your attitude and your energy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
How
sir.
you respond to things instead of reacting.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
You guys are welcome.
Hey, we here every week. We here every week. Just diving into some things real quick.
Let's do it.
For the people. Carlee Russell, fake abduction. I think she recently got charged, right?
I don't know. I think there's 2 charges. I don't know if it's like pending or if it needs to go to trial or something like that. But the thing about it, they're both misdemeanors.
Okay.
They're both misdemeanors, and they will carry a sentence of 1 year each and up to $6,000 in fines. I think it's for both. I don't think it's like together. So,
when people get hit with the fines, I wonder, like, is that a fine that you pay while you in prison, or is that a fine that you pay when you get out? Either way, it's cold, because I think they only pay prisoners like 32 cents an hour.
No knowledge. The thing that's crazy is to be hit with fines and to have to go to jail is a lot. It's like either way, because it's like, all right, so I pay the fine before I go in. I'm coming out broke. Like,
Yeah. You don't win.
$6,000 per charge. That's 12 bands. I ain't just got 12 bands laying around to pay fines.
Yeah, it's pretty cynical.
Right?
It's pretty cynical.
And it's like, if you come out and then you have to pay for those fines, and like, don't you have to pay, like, what is it? Is it restitution or something like that?
Yeah.
So then it's like, so you took away the year, 2 years of my life, and then you come out and say, now pay us. Like, bro, I wasn't.
Yeah, your first 12 work checks is theirs.
If you making a nice amount, then yeah. If you making a banded check, but then it's like, are you gonna
tax returns?
You gonna still live in the prison? Because how are you paying rent? It's like, dang, you got downsides everything. Like,
yeah, we outside, harsh. Literally.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I do pose a question that a lot of people don't want. Well, certain groups may not want to be answered. Does this make it difficult? We always talk about when black people take a step back, right? Or that's been an expression. Oh man, black folks just took a step back. Does her false accusations make it difficult in that movement that we've seen over the past 5 years of believe women when they say something?
Well, see, the thing about it is, I want to say no, because I don't feel like they're the same.
Okay.
She was on the phone, right, with the police, and then all of a sudden, she drops the call, turns her phone off, runs into the woods or whatever,
Right.
versus a woman saying, I have been this by such and such, this has happened to me by such and, like, what she did was all on her own on some other shit. Usually when women say something, it's about, I was attacked, I
Right.
was disrespected, I was
Right.
by somebody else. They're, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's almost like there's another party involved, to where you can't really just disregard what they're saying because it might be true. So you have to actually take that with a certain weight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody who basically just created a whole hoax all on their own and fooled everybody. There's women mad at her.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, everybody's pissed off, whether we're talking about the women, the black community,
Yeah.
law enforcement. Like,
Right.
everybody's upset with her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So she
because
technically brought everybody together because
Yeah.
everybody's on the same page.
like, because everybody's pissed and unappreciative of what happened because of the backlash, not to her, but now it's like, if something like this happens again, how many people are going to disregard it because of this situation?
Yeah, they're already going to have speculation behind it.
100%.
But that's the whole reason for an investigation too, because this is what you find out when you do proper investigations. You find out, hey, this doesn't really look too.
Bro, because I was like, man, that's messed up. I hope we find her. I shared it on my story, on my platform. Like, man, she owed me, like, never mind.
I definitely would send a fine. Be in jail and get a folder from Kicks and Sneakers thinking it's a hookup and
Nah,
it's an invoice.
you've been served.
It's an invoice and a subpoena.
When you get out, we going right back to court.
Leave the jumpsuit on. Leave it on. Yeah, that's bad. This bad.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, like, I don't think it's a hit towards women or believing them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is one of those situations where it's outside the.
I think a little different. I don't think it hurts the movement, but I do think the whole phrase should have more intention behind it. Instead of saying when a woman claims something, believe them, I think the proper intent would be when a woman says something, listen to them, hear them out.
Well, yeah, 100%. But here's the thing about it: she didn't say nothing. Right? This is the whole thing. Like, you gotta understand something. It was a hoax. She was on the phone like,
right.
Oh, there's a kid on the side of the freeway, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, all contact just dropped.
Right.
Right? To give off that she's been kidnapped, abducted, and
Right.
you can't find her. So then not only, she hid. She was 49 hours, bro.
Yeah.
It's 2 days.
That's kind of gangster. Like, no food, no nothing. Like you did all this to
How
fast?
do you know that? How do you know that? Wasn't she in the woods somewhere? She could have been camped out.
Yeah, she could have set it up.
And shit,
Yeah.
you know?
My man says she's well rounded in nature life.
You don't know. We have no idea what happened.
So basically,
in the midst of that
baby girl
49
just had a
hours.
tent set up somewhere
Bruh.
2 days prior. Probably, or yeah, you know, DoorDashed a
In
couple
cave
items.
with a generator. Who knows? Like, yeah, we don't know. You see what I'm saying? But it's just like,
That's the real case. Where were you and what were you doing during those 48 hours?
and that's the thing. So it's like, what she did, like, she didn't blame anybody. She gave off the illusion that she had been abducted to have you thinking that something happened to her, versus a woman saying something and you actually listening and
Yeah.
paying attention. You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of different. Like, so I don't really feel like it hurt the, believe a woman, listen to what she's saying
Yeah.
movement. I don't, but it definitely put a black eye on any thing that could happen as far as in abductions happening later, because now,
Because that is a real thing. It's a lot of women that are
100%,
yeah.
and especially with, what I'm saying, within the black community. So it doesn't help, because now it's like, when that happens, it's like, man, I hope everything's all right. But what if this is another Carlee Russell? And that's the thing now.
Yeah.
Now you have a name for it. Her name's a whole situation now.
Yeah. It's kind of like, in court when they do like, Brown versus education.
Yeah.
Or a RICO charge or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So now
Yeah.
it's like, the people versus whoopsie whoop whoop. This is the Carlee Russell. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. Like,
Yeah,
so
it's
just,
definitely.
you know what I'm saying? It ain't cool.
Yeah.
It's not cool at all. But I mean,
Yeah, it's some madness there.
I don't even want to say that's what she get, but you got to learn a lesson.
Oh,
You have to learn
for
a
sure.
lesson. You know what I'm saying? Like misdemeanor charges, like that.
Well, it's one of those things not to play with when you think about like.
100%.
And the thing is, I mean, the power of social media to be able to like, we've seen that happen many times where there's been a missing persons report, and there's also been times where the person was found like a couple days later, and I used to get upset sometimes and be like, well, dude, like, why are y'all real quick to do this? And they just didn't have their phone. They just answered their phone for 3 or 4 days. But at the same time, it's like, why risk it? Because you just don't know. It's frustrating, but it's like you can't risk just assuming that you'll get a hold of that person, because for decades and decades and decades people have disappeared and you've never ever seen them again. I mean, they used to be on the back of milk cartons and things like that, or in the mail that have you seen me, and they would AI generate how they're supposed to look right now. So
nobody drinks milk, just
yeah,
soy and oat, so there's no more of that.
Put it on the back of a Celsius or a Red Bull.
It has to be gluten free.
Basically, Jelani said if it's not in the organic section or not from Trader Joe's, he ain't gonna see it.
Man, I'm not even me. A lot of people just not gonna see it. Everybody's so health conscious now.
Yeah.
But still eating and drinking soy. It's a whole different topic.
And indulging in, a whole different topic. So, modern women's thoughts on relationships.
I don't think they think about relationships. They just want to.
That was fast. That was fast.
Well, because
I agree with that. I agree with it so fast. I didn't even try to give any.
Because there's this.
I'm gonna think of some pushback, but go ahead.
There's such an allure in having a relationship, and then you see a lot of things on social media where pictures together or a quick little videos.
Oh, couples goals.
Stuff. But on the same breath, there is a lot of energy and work needed to not only maintain that relationship, but to have a healthy relationship in which you both are growing, pouring into each other, evolving, developing some type of bond and strengthening your understanding. So it's just nobody really thinks it's almost like, I want to get fit. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. But what about all the actual work and adjustments it takes to actually be fit and be in shape, as far as in adjusting how you eat? Right. Possibly calorie counting, getting in the gym, having a workout schedule, and remaining consistent in that. So there's a lot of things that it takes to actually get fit. There's a lot of things that actually take to have and maintain a relationship. But people don't think past the thought of having a relationship.
No, they don't. They don't.
It's almost like, take it a step further. A lot of women want to get married but don't want to be a helpmate to their partner, which is what you are supposed to be as a woman. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to have your own things going on. You're not supposed to be thriving and moving forward and progressing and, personal in your career, but you are a helpmate to a man. So you have to understand that and be willing to play that role, however it may be, to the man that it is you want to marry, because depending on who it is you're looking to marry, it will be a different responsibility. So you're not thinking about that. I just want the ring and I want the husband. But are you ready to do the work? Are you ready to be in unison and become one? Are you willing to support? Are you willing to submit? And I don't mean bow down and pray.
You ain't got to explain submission. They need to go look it up.
I mean, kind of. If I have to explain it, they need to look it up, right? But but you get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of people, not even just women, a lot of people in general don't think past having a relationship. But when it comes to women, I feel like there's a whole lot of allure to it that keeps them, thinking it's all rainbows and sunshines.
I think a person's problem solving skills should be just as they should be just as interested in modifying and always revisiting their problem solving skills as they are the allure of a relationship, if you ask me. Because it seems like, and I know men and women both have different types of men and women. They both have their different perspectives on the idea of a relationship and marriage. But I think if people kind of went in reverse with their thought process and thought about the potential problems ahead of time when it comes to getting into a serious relationship, which is also going to lead to hopefully marriage if that's what they want to
And
do.
the person that you're getting into this relationship with, because those will be different depending on the individual you're looking
Absolutely.
to get into a relationship with, and you have to take that all into consideration.
Yeah, and that's why I say going in reverse. So by you dealing with the person, right, and then you visiting what potential issues are based off of you taking the time to know a person, right, and see, learn if they have credibility, understand it, their mentality, why they think the way they think, their background. And I don't even necessarily think it's all about analyzing a person's background, but just having an understanding of it, because there's some people that are trying to escape a background that they come from. And a lot of times we spend time judging a person's background instead of looking at the results of what came from that background and what efforts are being made to grow from it and be a better individual out of it. Now, people that continue, my opinion, I think people that have a tendency to always bring up their background as far as in it being responsible for how they are, that's not how it works. How it works is, it works in a way of like, you're not responsible what was done to you. You're responsible with what you do with it. You know what I'm saying? So that means past relationships, because that's always a cop out, right? Past relationships, I got trust issues. This. Well,
So why didn't you work on that and work through that?
Right. And then like you said with the allure, like from a person that's done it, the ring, the actual ceremony, the reception, the honeymoon it's the smallest part. It's the smallest part. Me and my wife probably visit that conversation every blue moon. It's the day-to-day tasks, the day-to-day responsibilities and the roles that you're in. And yes, you do have roles. If you think you don't have a role in your relationship, but you unconsciously have a role everywhere else in life, whether it comes to work, whether it comes to responsibilities as far as bills and relationships with your family and friends, those are all roles that we live every day. So I think sometimes what happens with a lot of these women is they skip over that. That's like a minor, it's a minor responsibility until it gets out of hand. And then it's like, oh, well, I had all this other stuff going on, but you can never use that excuse with everything else that you have going on.
If you choose not to acknowledge the roles, then you can disregard or ignore the responsibilities that come with the role.
Yeah.
So, right. That's my role.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I didn't know that was my role, so you can't expect me to handle those responsibilities.
Exactly.
I didn't know that was my role.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you brought up submission, the reason why I was so nonchalant about explaining it is because people need to do their part, and specifically with women, because a lot of modern women today struggle with the word submission.
Well, and I feel that to a certain extent, because I feel like it's not just women that have an issue with the word submission. I feel like a lot of males in this generation feel like submission is you do what I say, you wear what I wear, or I tell you to wear, you go. Like it's almost like they feel like it's I have control.
Oh, non-leaders.
No. Because see, the thing about it, if we're talking about submission, basically submission from a woman to a man is me. You allowing your man to lead, you trusting him to be out front and make decisions, believing that they will benefit the both of you and help you to move forward and progress in life. That doesn't mean that you can't question question his choices, have conversations about him. It does not mean you don't have a voice. It just means you are trusting him to lead and you are giving him the room to do such.
Yeah, I labeled it non-leaders because when you truly are leading something, you're really supposed to lead from the back so you can see everything that's going on. And in order for you to see what's going on, you have to allow somebody a voice to be able to explain to you things that you just may not see, or you just may not have spent enough time analyzing. And I definitely think that the men that have a hard time with the word submission is because they took all of the amenities at it. They took the amenities and looked at that. They didn't take the responsibilities. Anything that we do in life that we may enjoy, there's A and there's B. There's a side A where it's like, okay, this is great, I'm gonna love it, and then there's side B, which is all the responsibilities of it.
Work.
And so for the men that struggle with that word, it's clearly the same thing that a lot of men have been struggling with since the beginning of time.
Because
power.
like honestly, like if you understood the word submission and the role that it plays, you understand that comes with like, you know, it's like superhero, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
And you are, at that point, you are responsible for making the best choices for you and your partner, for making sure that you are operating to, you know what I'm saying, the best of your abilities, and you are great at your problem solving skills.
Right.
You have a high level of patience to be able to handle these type of situations.
Right.
You know, keep a cool head and just execute on a consistent basis.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to be consistent.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And when you understand that, you're like, yo, that's not a light task.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not a light task
and
at all.
And it's almost kind of frustrating, because then there are women who understand what it means to be submissive.
Yeah.
And then they are submissive to men who don't completely understand that and drop the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that some conversations need to actually, when men and women are having these conversations, especially online, how prevalent it is, right? What needs to happen and what needs to be understood is everything is subjective, and everything, you know, is based off of certain circumstances. If you come into an argument and you talk about, and you're making your point based off of like what your mama went through, what your grandma went through, or a little bit of what you went through, or what your homies went through, and I'm talking to the women on this, that has nothing to do with your choices and who you picked. So, and a lot of times people are speaking from an energy of experience and not speaking from an energy of what you can control, which means you get to pick the person that you go on a date with. You get to pick the person that you allow your time. So you have to have those when you have those powers, right? You have to take responsibility and comb through the good and the bad as far as conversation to get an understanding if you should move forward. And you also have to understand that a lot of times the things that you want out of a scenario, how is it going to benefit that person when it comes to what you want? Because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to start growing resentment. It's going to eventually show up. So it's like, oh, they got to have money. They got to have this. They got to have that. Okay, how is that beneficial to them? Because if they come in already having those things, they already understand what's valuable. So they can look at it the other way around. Like, okay, I know what I have is valuable to you, but what am I benefiting from by you having it?
You mean that question that everybody seems to dislike all of a sudden? What do you bring to the table?
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of men that have pushback on that. Like, why are y'all asking women what do they bring to the table? And it's like, that's crazy, because we learned this as children, right? You've been to picnics and birthday parties or get-togethers and potlucks, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody usually, bring sodas, bring this, bring that, and next thing you know, you have this gigantic feast where 9 times out of 10 there's always food left over. So something just as small as that, we all know that we need to bring something to the event, to the table. But when we talk about the person that we want to spend the rest of our life with and have kids with, oh, well, no, you shouldn't either be.
But because you remember we had a conversation a while back, because Steve Harvey was on this. Why are you asking the one what she brings to the table? She can make another you. Bruh, I mean, like, that's great and all, but first of all, how do you know that she wants kids, and how do you know he wants kids? So now if they don't want kids, So
what are we bringing now?
So now what? Where are we at?
The ability. or even worse, I kind of took it as a little insensitive, because there's women out there that actually struggle with being able to bring that particular thing to the table, 100%. Right? So that was a dumb statement, but we have this rule in everything else. When you get interviewed for a job, they basically want to know, how are you going to make us better, right?
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity usually at an interview to ask your own questions to see if this is an environment that's going to make things better for your life.
You bring your dating resume. Well, as you can see, these past relationships.
Yeah. These.
I was actually in this one for 3 years. I was really good in there. I listened. I communicated well, so I have experience in those roles.
Bragging about the standards, huh?
Yeah. Because while they're standards, a lot of people lack them.
Yeah. And that's that background thing,
Communication
right? Yeah.
isn't just talking. You also have to listen.
Yeah.
And in the midst of you listening, you have to comprehend.
Absolutely.
There needs to be a high level of understanding so that you feel me, like...
That comprehend. Heavy on the comprehend. Heavy on the comprehend.
Man.
Right.
I don't want you to just get it. I need you to understand it. Like,
yes.
I need you to absorb, you feel me? And then I'm going to need you to respond in a way that lets me know that you truly comprehend so that we can move forward.
You've said that on past episodes, right? With us men, we want to be
understood.
We want to be understood. It's not about being right.
Nah,
it's about being understood.
I don't give a damn about being right because I'm not always going to be right.
Exactly.
Depending on where you come from, you feel me? Perspective, nuances, we can both be right.
Yep.
Because of past experience, what we've been through, how we see things, and how it works for us.
Absolutely.
We could both be right or we could both be wrong. But if there's a high level of understanding from both sides, then we can come to a point to where we understand where you come from, you understand where I come from, and we don't have to have this issue again. Or if we encounter something similar to this, at least we both know where each other stands so we can move and operate accordingly because of the understanding that was achieved previously.
Exactly.
Y'all get that? Cool.
Yeah.
So,
hey, that's basically, I mean, I think we pretty much covered it as far as in, the way you can look at something. This is what I want to say to kind of close out, that topic is you can look at it however you want to look at it. Women and men, but since we pose a question about women, y'all can look at it however you want to look at it. You can feel however you want to feel about the current state. What are you going to do about it? And it doesn't need to be one of the typical sassy, I'm just going to do this, or because that's not, a lot of y'all, that's not what y'all really want. Y'all don't, I'm independent, I'm alone, whatever the case is, that's not what you really want. Because usually when we're doing what we want to do, we're not reminding everybody that we're doing what we want to do.
Nah.
You're trying to remind yourself and then give the impression and the illusion, which is not working.
You're definitely trying to convince yourself.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, like, I think because the question was, how do modern women feel about relationships, or what do they think about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think women need to think about what it is they truly want out of a relationship.
Yeah.
Not just having one.
Yeah.
What is it you expect to gain? What is it that you want out of it? And that will definitely vary and differ from woman to woman, and who it is you choose to deal with. And in the midst of who you choose and who you deal with, you need to understand that there's certain things that they're able to do, there's certain things that they're not able to do, and there's certain things that they might mature into. But you can't change anybody, right? Like the structural, the makeup, you can't change that. So if you deal with somebody who's not able to actually execute in certain areas, you can hope for growth and maturity, but you almost can't expect it because they're not. You see what I'm saying? So think your relationships through. Think about what it is you actually want out of that, and then go from there.
I think women need to practice playing video games. The reason why I say that is because what us young men and men have learned playing video games. That when you're playing like a Call of Duty, or you're playing 2K, you're playing all of these games, right? You have to structure your character, right? And you have to give things and take things away to get the character that you want. When you're playing a game like Call of Duty, and I'm going to try not to lose y'all, but there's certain guns you can have and certain guns you can't have for the mission that you're on. So when you're looking at people that you're dealing with, understand it. If you're going for somebody and you think that that money is the answer for your love and stuff like that, that person might lack a whole bunch of other things that you didn't know you wanted before you focused on the money aspect of things.
This is kind of crazy, and I know this might not be received well, but I almost feel like the financial aspect should be one of the lower things on the list of priorities, because depending on the education, experience, and how things move, you can always come into a situation to where you're making more money.
Yeah.
Right? But as far as in mental, emotional, spiritual, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's going to pour into you, support, things of that nature. You really can't teach a lot of those things. Yeah, you might be able to kind of get somebody to understand how to cater to you in a sense, but there are certain things that you just can't teach, and it really might not be comprehended the way you wanted it to. So Yeah, I mean, like, and then in the midst of like what you said, dealing with somebody who does have all the finance, they have what they call it, the bag. They have their finances in order. They're not probably not going to be the most attentive to all of your needs and be supportive in the way that you want them to, or pour into you the way you want them to, because they're too busy tending to and maintaining their finances.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like there's something of a trade-off, but on the same breath, certain things you're trading off for can later be acquired and built up, whereas there's certain attributes that just might not be there that you can't grow or develop.
Yeah, you can't force the balance. You know, sometimes people try to demand the balance. It's like, no, you have to, going into a situation, just like going into a job situation, you have to force the tolerance on your, like with yourself. You have to negotiate with yourself on what you want to deal with, not try to get somebody to compromise how they already are. That's why we choose, right? We choose to say, all right, I'll deal with that. Can't deal with that. I'll deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. And then overall, you say, I'll completely deal with this situation, or I won't.
Outweigh the cons.
Absolutely.
So I will deal with the situation.
Yes.
Especially when some of those cons might be introductory at the beginning, and things can shift, they can grow, they can mature, things can happen that can lessen the amount of cons that there are.
So obey the red flags.
It's not a carnival.
Obey the red flags, because once you disregard red flags that are red flags to you, not the red flags of what everybody else thinks, the red flags to you, then you have a choice to make. And a lot of people like to slither past that. They like to, well, I was duped and this, that, and the other. Okay, well then you need to stop talking about how intelligent and educated you are, men and women. If you keep complaining about getting finessed, then you need to stop beating your chest about how your intellect is Batman level. All right? So, hey, we gave some solutions. They can do what they want to do with it. They can do what they want. They can do what they want to do.
Happy hunting.
Yay. Saying his name respectfully. I be forgetting sometimes we talk about him.
Oh, I thought you were saying yay.
Yeah. Yay. We done with that. Now, yay. Yeezy.
He cool.
Made 85 million, or just around 85 million on the remaining sales with Adidas.
Good for him.
Good for him. And are you surprised that it went this route? Based off of all the debacle stories that was happening when he came out swinging on his.
I didn't know how it was gonna.
Perspective.
I thought it was over and done with. And the whole thing is that why it's good for him, because after everything that he did and everybody parted ways and stopped dealing with him and everything, it still came full circle. And in order for them to ultimately benefit, they had to continue to use his name and pay him out.
Yeah.
Good for him. He won.
Yeah.
He won.
You know, it's crazy that you said that, because I seen a post where it had a lot of activity on it where they posed that question, if he won or not. Yeah. And so many people was like, oh, going from being net worth $1 billion to half of that to only getting 85. And the thing that stuck out to me when I seen a few of those comments,
the stupidity
in the word only. Everybody in that conversation
is not a millionaire.
Is not a millionaire and can use that only 85 million.
Sheesh, I could use a third of that.
I mean, that is plenty of money to. And this is where I start going down a rabbit hole in my own mind, and I'm not going to do it to y'all. I'm not going to do it to you. Is that kind of money can easily create your own manufacturing, your own location, your own team members, everything that you need to mass produce what you want to do. There's YouTubers that have done this before. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a couple people online. So,
and seeing the thing about it is, like, I feel like there's a lack of understanding, because, all right, his net worth was how much?
About $1 billion, right?
And that was due to
potential
partnerships.
Yeah, partnerships and
deals
potential.
And things of that nature. He didn't have that in the account.
Right.
He didn't have that on hand.
Yeah.
The 85 mil is on hand.
Yes. That's
you
right there.
What I'm saying? So soon as the partnerships and everything discontinued, you feel me, went their separate ways, however you want to put it, his net worth dropped because now he's only able to maneuver and do this, and he only has so much that he can make happen.
Right.
Versus him getting paid out that money and him having that in hand.
Right.
And him, you feel me? Like,
Yeah.
he's a millionaire because of that.
Exactly.
He was only a billionaire on paper.
Right. This is
So
true.
it's just like, yo, well, his net worth dropped because he spoke his mind. He expressed his feelings and he did what he did. A lot of people he was in dealings with, he was working with, chose not to continue to move forward with that, and because of that, he lost all the potential to make those billions.
Right.
At the end of it all, somebody had to spin the block, come back and deal with him in some form or fashion for them to have some type of benefit from the dealings beforehand.
Absolutely.
And because of that, him not having to do any work, any promotion, have any ties, speak on anything, and still receive $85 million, how could you say he didn't win?
Good question. Definitely a good question, bro. I mean, I just in my mindset and what I see, I think that he won in the sense of that's enough money for whatever project he wants to do forward outside of what he already has, right? And the learning lesson with this experience, because a lot of people forget when they talk about this situation, he didn't just start flipping tables and acting, because he has this crazy label, right? But it's like, why is it that this dude starts speaking up about something and nobody listens? They automatically label him. Because when you look at the beginning, he said there were certain things that wasn't being fulfilled within their agreement.
100%.
And when you look at past history, whether it's in the entertainment business as a whole, a discrepancy always comes about when somebody in the agreement decides that they're not going to honor the agreement anymore. You see it in sports. When a player asks for a trade, and yeah, I'm talking about you, Jonathan Taylor, for the Colts.
I thought you were talking about Dame, but go on.
You signed that contract. So if you go up in value, that's great. But you signed a contract at the value that you thought you were at that time. Otherwise, you would have waited.
Yeah. 100%.
So when we see it with athletes, and then we see it the other way around with record companies when all right, we're going to give you this budget, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and your album's going to drop on this day. They push your album back. They don't give you the finances that you need for the production and whatever else. Now I went out of my contract because you're not honoring it.
Definitely not shooting no videos.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like this is the agreement. So with Kanye, that's what his main issue was.
The whole and not even just that. Like, he's not crazy. He's eccentric.
All right.
Unconventional and slightly strange. That fits. Because he is unconventional. And to a lot of people, he is strange. But that doesn't take away from his genius or his creativity. And then what I think another way he won with his whole things, it speaks to the influence of Ye. Because you doubling back and deciding to sell his shoes with his name, sell the shoes with his name on them, and you did more than 85 million. That was just his cut.
Yeah.
So the influence is still there. So then for anybody who's thinking about doing anything with him in the future, or even for anything he wants to do in the future, the influence is still there for him to be able to do it and make a profit.
Yeah.
He won. He won. Like, I'd be in the house doing cartwheels.
I wonder if they're going to eliminate that agreement that they had. Remember all the stuff he had under contract that he would have a hard time using that he signed over?
Yeah.
If they'll let that go. Because at this point, you sold everything. You still plan on obviously cutting ties. At that point, it would just be petty. Right?
But it's just what, Yeezy? So you can still use Ye and Kanye West if he wants to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
true.
it's not the end all be all. It was just specific things, and you know what I'm saying. So
Right.
he can still find ways to make things happen. And like I said, with him being the person behind it, the influence is still there. So he should still be able to make things shake.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens from here on out, man. Hopefully he hires Sway, because he definitely has the answers. So we'll see what happens. Jamie Foxx and our beloved black folks and conspiracy theories. So we all know what he's been struggling with his health concerns, and because so many people feel entitled to another person's life because he wasn't responding in the way that I would say the masses thought he should have responded, he finally does. And I watched the whole video, and the conspiracy theorists are automatically pulling out pictures from 20 years ago, comparing them to now, and saying that, oh, he's clone. Like, I gotta address this, dog. I want to address this.
So I didn't see the video. I didn't know he responded, but he looks a lot slimmer, huh?
Yeah, kind of like what happens when somebody's been in the hospital for months and battling with health issues.
He's not in there eating steak and what I'm saying, filet mignon and
right. And
all this stuff that adds weight. He's in there eating hospital food for the most part. Like,
and
no
it's
5-star chef in there bringing him. I know he's celebrity and he's but still, like, you're limited to what it is you can eat. And then when you're sick, you lack the appetite, right? And depending on how sick you were, wasn't he in a coma or something like that for a while?
It was
means
bad.
That you're being fed through a tube, like, and you're just getting the nutrients and things that are needed for you to continue to live and for your body to function. So it's just like, that's what happens when people are too quick to make assumptions and talk about cloning and stuff like that. And then my whole thing is this, like, all right, he got cloned. Why aren't you more focused on the aspect that people are being cloned?
Right.
If that's going on, then we have a whole bigger issue that needs to be addressed.
Right.
Shut the man.
I think my mind goes when people have this conversation, right? Is just like, out of all the things and all the people that you could, and I say with air quotes, clone, the people, and this is to y'all black folks, the people that you guys are selecting as potential victims of this, explain to me why it would be an actor like Jamie Foxx, or remember when Gucci Mane turned his life around, he was cloned. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, is this a sign of this is why you need to stop watching TV? Or actually this is a sign that you should probably read more books? You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know, man. I'm baffled that that's even what.
I think I look at it as insensitive that this dude went through what he went through. And because he doesn't look the exact same as before he went through what he went through, that it's something else instead of the fact that this man had a serious health scare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't make sense. It's illogical. It's ignorant. It's stupid.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very stupid. But I think
that means you would have to put thought into it, and a lot of people don't put thought into anything, not even their conspiracies, because if they did, then a lot of them wouldn't even be conspiracies. They would just be thoughts, and then they would let them thoughts pass, because after thinking what it is that you thought and then actually diving into it and be like, wait a minute, you know what, I'm tripping, never mind.
Right.
It would never be voiced.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
Silence is some of y'all's best friend. And you've been neglecting them. And it's not cool.
Hey, man. He said it. Yeah, I agree with it.
I meant it.
Well, diving into the last part of everything, man. Definitely wanted to give a shout out and condolences to Gillie the kid losing his son, YNG Cheese, in a triple shooting where he didn't make it. Other two people, were in critical condition at the hospital, and it threw me for a loop when I first seen the story and stuff like that. But I just thought, like, the timing of everything, and just he was getting ready to do Gillie Fest and stuff like that. I did see some coverage of it where he talked about it a little bit, but I thought it was awful for that to happen to him and to his son, because from what I've seen, he's done a lot in Philadelphia and as a community. So it's the way I looked at it is like to give so much to your home, and for home to take that away, take something as
Yeah.
precious as your child away from you, I just thought it was cruel. It was just a different level of evil for me. You know what I'm saying?
That's like, when I found out, I was like, man, that's wild. That's heartbreaking. And definitely condolences to Gillie and the family. Cause like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know he had a kid that old.
Yeah, I seen him like, you know, they would every blue moon post him, or Gillie would post him on his IG. You know what I'm saying?
So I
And
was
so
like, wait,
yeah,
what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that's wild. That's messed up, man. It's definitely heartbreaking in a lot of different ways. Like, especially when you spoke on, you know, it being his city and what he's given, and to have that taken from you, and just and in a fashion that it was it's not cool.
like I'm definitely for the movement, and I've said it only a couple times, but I'll definitely revisit. I'm definitely with and for the movement of making, excuse my French, shit like this not cool. The whole gangsta, gang banging, street life. Like, I think as a collective in a community, this should be something that we make fun of when people should like want to live that life and be that way. Just like when you make fun of somebody for having fake J's or wearing fake designer. I don't understand how people can commit to that but not clown and downplay people that take lives away from people. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, it's extremely stupid. There's no future in that.
Yep.
There's no value in that. And there's usually only two ways things end, and it's usually in death or in jail, which are two situations that nobody wants. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, being somebody who had a street life, like, when you're able to get out of that and move away from that and not have to move in a way to where you have to, you know, keep your head on a swivel or be checking for the ops, or, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to carry a gun. Like, yo, that's ultimately the type of situation that you want. You don't want to be in those type of situations. There's no fun or value or peace in any of that. And I just don't understand why people would want to gravitate towards that, operate in that. It makes no sense. Like, you are basically throwing your life away at that point.
I know I had an artist tell me that I collabed with once, that he said he collabed with me because he respected the fact that I am who I am. I try to be something I'm not, which means, you know, carry myself like I've been out there and I have the knowledge, but I ain't done that life. So he's like, yeah, that's one reason. He said the other reason is, he said, you know, just chopping it up with you, man. He said to me, it must feel real cool to not always have to look over your shoulder, huh?
Bro.
And I was like, man, I never looked at it that way, but yeah. He was like, yeah, man. And then actually that one came before the other comment. He was like, yeah, that's why I respect what you do. That's why I don't mind collabing with you, because you're not trying to be this, you're trying to be who you are. And just for somebody that has that experience or had that experience living like that, lets you know that even the people in it don't want to be in it.
You know
So why are you trying to jump in it?
You know how exhausting that is?
I can only imagine.
I remember I was, and this is a while back, I'm moving around with somebody who was extremely active. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I had some, but he was a shooter, basically. And I pulled up to a spot to get something to eat. I didn't go to a drive-thru or nothing like that. I pulled up and I hopped out. He was like, yo, what is you doing? So we finna go get something to eat. He said, nah, bro, we can't just pull up like this and park right here, go get some. He's like, bro, I got funk out here. I can't just be in the open like that. And it hit me like, bro, you're in it so thick that you can't even hop out of a car and go get something to eat. You have to be on edge and paying attention to your surroundings and looking over your shoulder to that extent. Like, not only did I get him out of my car sooner than later, But that whole thing is just like, wow.
The
like,
layers to it.
Bro, because it's just like there's so much. You have to move a certain way, operate a certain way. And even in the midst of that, you have to continuously look over your shoulder, pay attention to your surroundings, how people are moving, right? It's never on safety. Like, it's like, yo, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Like, think about so many of the things that you just go out and do. You just hop in the car and go pick up something from the store. You go to the grocery store. You do whatever. And the thought of running into the opposition or an enemy or having a shootout never crosses your mind.
Yep.
Mess around and run out to go do something real quick and be in slides. You know how hard it is to maneuver in slides if you're in a shootout?
Oh man, they coming off.
It's just, I'm just like, it's just the things that you don't get the luxury of being able to do, as far as having a relaxed life and being casual and not having to think about threats.
Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Like, that's why I don't really even go out too much now, bro.
Yeah.
Like, because not even being involved in something, but because of the ignorance that's out there and how people are maneuvering and operating, you could be hit.
Yeah, you could get drug into it and you have nothing to do with it.
You bystander.
Yep, for sure.
I just went out to go party, have a couple of drinks, and that was my last night.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't understand it at all. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why it's glorified. I don't see why people want to do that. I don't see why it's a ongoing thing.
Yeah. Now, I could even halfway say, like, in the earlier stages of hip hop, I understood how things got glorified. But with all of the aftermath of what's happened and the knowledge behind it and, ending results for people that are not here or people that are put away for forever, that's why we can look back. What is it, 50 years of hip hop right now this year? You can look back on those 50 years easily because it's documented. There's people that lived through it and say, you know what? I'm not going to do that. But to open to still with that knowledge, or even if you don't have that knowledge, not even do the research because it's available right there for you at your fingertips.
Oh, you mean the phone?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And to just dive into that, it's like pure ignorance.
Mm-hmm. At that point, it's stupidity, though, because if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, that is. It's pure.
When you choose not to do the background, when you choose not to, do your research and gain a deeper understanding, you're choosing to not have that knowledge. You're stupid.
Pure stupidity.
Stupid.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely can agree with that.
Get it together.
Get it together, man. But like I said before, definitely shout out to Gillie the Kid. Have our condolences.
Prayers and condolences, man.
And keep doing what you're doing. A lot of the OGs, I do want to take the time to appreciate what they're trying to do, how they're trying to push the envelope by changing the direction and the mental of the younger people that have an influence right now. I do like seeing that because these guys live through all of these things. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I want to strongly encourage that, because these type of things shouldn't happen. Not just because, it's Gillie the Kid, but, that mother that tried to do her best losing her kid or her children to the streets. You know what I'm saying? Or that grandmother that has all of her grandbabies because the parents aren't here or not doing well, losing their grandkids. It's not cool. It's not beneficial. It's not adding nothing to the next family. It's not adding nothing to the culture or the community. It's only adding a whole bunch of chaos that you probably come from and are not proud of. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what I could say on that note. But going ahead and getting out of here. This is your boy Dizzy D Spill. You've been tuning in to the Notion podcast here with my co-host in the building,
Jelani Evans.
And you already know where to find us. You know what to do. You gotta like, you gotta subscribe, you gotta leave those comments in the comment section. Follow us. We always tell you all the time, throw topics out there on what you want us to cover outside of the current events. But outside of that, until next time,
peace and love.
Peace.